Hello, my name is Miles McGann. I'm the CEO of Progressive Aligners. Today I'm here with Dr. Harrell, our head instructor, and we're here to interview Dr. Don McGann, the founder of Progressive Orthodontics, about his journey into aligners. So Don, thank you first of all for being here. You know, your history and your reputation in the world of orthodontics has always been as a brackets guy. You made a slow transition into aligners about 5 years ago or 6 years ago. Tell me about your original motivation for doing that.
Well, first of all, I don't like not knowing everything. So when I had discounted aligners originally when they first came out, actually when I was asked to be a champion for one of the famous companies, and because I thought that it would put my family, the people that trusted me, in a position that was potentially bad for them if the patient didn't get what they wanted, and that they couldn't get the results that had been promised to them after paying a large sum of money, and their expectations being high, basically being adult patients, then it was going to put them into a very bad situation. So I told them no, absolutely. And I remember my words on the phone call. I said, I'm not putting my friends into a hole with a bunch of rattlesnakes without a way out. That was what I said, quote unquote. I remember it well. It was in Santa Ana, right there. We're in between patients. And they were asking me to be a champion. Okay, so with that said, I had discounted aligners, even though I was straightening teeth with like clear overlay retainers. Some had not worn their retainer, had re-straightened their teeth with having the model that I gave them with their straight teeth coming back, and we made some of those and straightened them. I didn't quite process that, so I went into retirement as a bracket guy, right? And then a large part of what motivated me to come out of retirement was to attend Aligner Plus, David Dana and Daniel Azzani, and learned, which I enjoy learning, like all of you, I'm sure enjoy learning about aligners, the way that they had been successful in basically Dr. Azzani's practice. And he did a lot of aligners, basically almost all aligners, and at that point. And so I wanted to know how this was working and why. Out of my curiosity, and I'm a curious guy, I want to know why, when, how, how high it jumps, and what makes it jump, right? So of course, I learned, but I wasn't completely satisfied with that I knew everything about aligners through there. So I hired Amit Lala, an orthodontist who does all aligners, all companies in his orthodontic practice for 20 years, and hired him to work with me on my consulting cases.
You hired a mentor.
As my mentor, actually, yeah. As my mentor. So I was learning from him. But he was also learning from me, because I was doing all of the standard POS diagnosis in detail with everything, VTOs, range of bracket torque, rotations, everything, designing brackets in every case as a plan B to get out of the aligners if they didn't work to the satisfaction of the patient or the using doctor.
So then as you progressed past Aligner Plus and started getting into your consulting business with your mentor, you were working on a large number of cases with a wide variety of students of yours from around the world who are trusting you to get them through these cases well. And the personality that you had was, hey, I will do this if you work with me. And so you enlisted a lot of these students to send you monthly photos, similar to how you've always done POS. I want to see monthly photos. I want to see start records. I want CEFs. I want all this kind of stuff so that I can study, not only get the case done right, but then go back into the case and study why it worked and get better for the next one.
Exactly.
So over the last 5 years, that's been your process, correct?
Yes.
And so as you've been going through that, how many cases do you think you've worked up that way?
Aligner cases?
Absolutely.
Hundreds. I don't know. I don't know, but it's, hundreds, plural,
Right.
for sure. And, worked up into PowerPoints, not so much for the presentation, but now, of course, they will be presented. But so they'd be organized.
Right.
And I would put them in organization, then I could easily compare one to the other and say, okay, this tooth didn't move because of that. This tooth did move because of that. And so documenting what happened and then figuring out why, so that the next case you can do a better job. And on every successive case, you should be able to do a better job.
Right.
So, and of course, overlays.
Right.
And I'm, of course, known for overlays. And without the overlays, I'm skeptical of what's being said, because I go, well, maybe it is, maybe it's not. Because a lot of things that you see, you think they're this way and there's something else going on.
Right.
And that's what I found out in brackets, and I applied the same tools and element of study required, every detail, including, especially with aligners, the emotions of the doctor and the patient. It seems like there's more emotions with that than there is with brackets, because they're probably thinking, well, we can lose tracking. Well, we don't lose tracking in brackets, but we lose tracking in aligners. And why did you lose tracking and all this sort of stuff? So it's completely different. Teeth even straighten different from brackets and arch wires than they do from aligners. So why do they straighten different? Why do you have to create space to get an aligner to straighten teeth?
So how have you gone from seeing aligners as a tip and strip appliance that you weren't willing to teach your students into something that you have the confidence that is a reliable tool that you can recommend and teach to the Progressive Orthodontic family?
It becomes reliable when you understand it. And it becomes reliable when you've proven it works this way and doesn't work some other way. Now it's reliable.
And you've seen enough of that to change your perspective and your mindset on it.
Yeah, I've put in thousands of hours into studying these records on hundreds of cases, put them side by side every step of the way, and try to figure out what works, what doesn't work, why it works, and also pushing the envelope of what people say, well, you can't do deep bites with aligners. And I go, really? Okay, well, let's find out why. Let's put some, let's try doing this, and this, and let's see if it does. And with the option that we could always go back to brackets and apply what we know there. So we weren't doing anything wrong with the patient. They wanted the aligners, so we'll give them the aligners and see how far the horse takes us. And then we got to get off and jump in a car and make it the rest of the way to the finish line. Okay, that's fine with me. Okay, that's okay. So in the marketplace today, you have especially adult patients that want aligners. They don't even realize that we're going to be gluing a bunch of attachments to their teeth. And what's the difference between those and brackets? But okay, for some reason, it's acceptable now. Okay, so you have a large number of adult cases that they're working on. Of course, we're experts in adults. We've always been experts in adults. One of my first class was adult ortho that I made up. In those days, you didn't really do adult ortho.
So going back to, the way that you have studied this and what you consider to be a successful case. You just mentioned, I'll only recommend, I have adult ortho patients asking me for aligners. But I think as, a lot of your students have known, and as I said, I've known you from forever, so I know your philosophy on this. You don't do things purely because the patient asks you.
No.
Your standard of it has always been, if the patient wants something, I will listen to them. But at the end of the day, I need to be proud of the work that I'm accomplishing, or I'd rather send that case away.
In the overall perspective of a dental career, patients come and go. You stay. And your mind can be really affected by a bad case, a loss of confidence. I don't want to do that anymore. So you have to protect against that. Every success that you have builds your good feeling of, oh my gosh, I'm actually good at this and I want to do another case, And so you've got this emotional thing with each dentist in their career that now that I am where I am, I look back and I say, well, I enjoyed it because I was only doing things that I felt that I was going to be successful at. Somebody comes in, they say, I want to look just like this picture in the magazine. I go, you're never going to look like that picture in the magazine. Okay, I can promise you that. Now, are those teeth going to look like that? I wonder that those have been photoshopped and everything. I don't think so either. So you've got to set the expectations. This is seminar 1. Set the expectations of the patient to be realistic. Set your expectations to be realistic. And if you can beat those expectations, you want to do it again. And everybody's happy. If you set them way up here and then you just miss by 2%, or you're too late, or you're too this, then your overall dental career suffers.
But when you're setting those expectations, you've never been willing to compromise what you're proud of, just to make the patient happy.
No, because I'm trying to make myself happy.
And so when you are looking,
if I make myself happy, I guarantee you the patient's going to be happy.
100%.
So
and so
I'm the last one to be, to be satisfied, and I'm the one that says take them off.
So when you're going into the aligner world, you weren't willing to take the acceptance of, well, the patient demanded it. Yes, I'm going to lower my quality.
Oh no!
In order to be allowed to perform this case, your mentality has always been, I'm only doing this case if I can get the result to be something that I'm proud of. And if I can use what the patient wants to achieve that, great. If I can't, refer the case out, send it someplace else because I'm not willing to do it.
If I'm trying to satisfy myself, put it into the simple form of the school grades. If I get a C, am I satisfied with that?
No.
Well, I got to the next grade with a C, but am I personally at where everybody pretty much could not get C's, otherwise they're not dentists. So you're not satisfied with a C, but it still gets you to the next place. They still paid you the money. You still gave them a certain level of care, but it was acceptable. It was satisfactory. Was it excellent? Was it something that you could go out and be proud of and say, go tell everybody I did your teeth? No, you're sitting there going, if anybody asks, don't tell them that I taught you from POS. Right? Okay, so POS is not satisfied with C's either. We have to motivate our students to at least get a B and hopefully an A. And the A's are what drives us to the next case and the next case and to the good feeling at the end of our career. We look back and we go, well, wow, I did better than I ever thought I did. I never thought I could do an ortho case, much less do it with an A result. So that is what you build your career on. And our family, I've tried to make everybody understand that, to the point that everybody is driving for that A, and that's hard to get. It's not always easy because the patient's part of it too. And if they're not doing their part, then maybe not. So we are based on excellence. If we're not based on excellence, at least we tried to get there. We can never say we just kind of slopped through it and, okay, we didn't have time to do it, so therefore C's okay.
So when you went into Aligner Plus, your mentality was aligners are demanded by the profession. The profession is providing these aligners to the doctor as a result. And I'm trying to see if we can get these to the level that I want to.
Can we get A's with aligners?
Can we get A's with aligners?
Can we get A's with aligners?
As you've studied this over the last 5 years, through those hundreds of cases, you've started to see that there are certain cases that can be done even better with aligners than with brackets. And that's been a transformation in your mind. I've watched it happen.
Well, with brackets, we had certain challenges too. And everything didn't work. And then we had things that did work, but you had to put a lot of effort into it, like rapid expanders followed by TPAs. That's a lot of work, okay? Okay, can you take an aligner and just get them to wear it, and can you fix a posterior crossbite? Answer, you can. Is it the same? No. It's different, okay? Is it easier on the user? Absolutely. One way versus the other way. Is it less time consuming to the user? Okay, so when you are defining better on any given case, you have to consider how much time, how much overhead, how much, each patient is different. Are they going to wear this thing? Because they'll wear it, but I guarantee you they're going to take it out to brush their teeth or eat. Now the question is, will they put it back in, right? Okay, so you have to have better motivational skills when you are going to be successful with aligners and get an A than with brackets. Brackets, you just have to motivate them to brush their teeth and brush the teeth without the brackets and don't break anything. Otherwise you go slower. So,
but there is cases today that you tell your mentors, this will work. You can do this better if you can get the patient to wear the aligner.
Yeah, there are. There are perio cases, people with a lot of crowns. If the patient wants aligners. If the patient is demanding aligners, chances are you're already past the first step. You don't have to talk them into it. They're already talked into it.
They're motivated.
They're motivated. Adults are motivated. Self-motivated. It isn't like the mother bringing the kid in saying, sit down and put some braces on. You better be putting braces on because the aligners, maybe they aren't going to wear them. My grandson, your son, he went through both, right?
Yeah.
And he's not an aligner proponent. Okay, but for every one of those, you have another one. So you got to be flexible here. You can't just go into aligners and hope that it's going to solve all your problems. No, it's not. It's just a different set of problems, and you need both to at least the capability of doing both.
And an understanding of how to get an A in both of them. Right?
And understand how to get an A and making sure that you do have capability. That's what I was saying. I don't want our people going into a hole of rattlesnakes and they can't get out.
Right.
How do they get out? Put some brackets on. What do you say now? Geez, I need to refer you.
So going back to how you studied this and how you learned this. When you originally did POS, all the bracket cases that you did all came from either your practice in Laguna Niguel or your practice in Manila. with technology and with SmileStream and the way that you kind of start up your aligner, study, you did this through creating a system of working with a group of mentored students. You call them the McGann VIPs.
That's right, McGann VIPs. Thank you. Thank you if you're watching.
Where those students came from has kind of changed your approach to how you study. Because in that McGann VIP group, you have students from all different areas of the world. You have patients from all different areas of the world and all different ethnicities and all different issues, where you're not stuck with, this is what is in my practice in Southern California, or this is what's in my practice in Manila. Instead, I'm seeing cases from every corner of the globe with every type of problem.
With doctors of different skill set level.
Right. We are working with doctors where some have been doing ortho for 20 years and other ones have taken only the Aligner Plus class and that's all they have. And so you're working with a wide variety. And so you're seeing and understanding the perspective of so many different types of people. How do you think that that's changed, how you have studied and what your viewpoints are on aligners?
Well, I was doing the diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big part of it. Okay, got to get the diagnosis. Got to set out the treatment plan. Got to tell the aligner company what you want. Got to check with the aligner company sets up. Work with them and get the aligners set up the best we can.
The optimization of the setup.
Optimization of the setup, exactly. And that was all under my control. And then it goes out the door, and it's not in my control. Okay? And now, that comes in. Some cases are going perfect. Some cases, patient's not wearing it well enough. Some of them, patient is wearing enough, but it's not tracking. Some of it's, the worst is probably posterior open bites. Yeah.
But you got to experience it from every different culture.
Yeah.
You got to experience certain places the patients behave differently than other places. The doctors behave differently. The economic systems are different.
Yes.
And because of that, every one of those affects, how these, puts more stress on how you diagnose and on what the capabilities are and what the results end up looking like. And so you've had to adapt to all these different environments to really learn the limitations and learn what works and what doesn't work as you kind of become very opinionated on how progressive aligners should be set up.
Exactly. And I think that foremost in my mind is that it has to be universally effective, universally understandable, and universally applied. And the quality of the tools that you use, they have to be of the highest quality. And it has to coordinate with what you're trying to do, with how the setup is done, and what you're going to do for revisions, refinements, motivations, disappointments, people moving. There's all these variables that you deal with. And of course, as a mentor, when you're doing hundreds of cases, you're seeing just about everything. You're seeing everything from patients comparing fees to, I don't like this space, to, why did the space even show up, So through my VIPs, these are people that have provided me with the information necessary to identify what happened, how to create a system to avoid that. And that's what the new POS is going to be about when all this new stuff comes in, which is in your hands, Miles. Thank you for doing this. So I have worked out all the technical details, and it's going to be amazing. I'm excited.
So as you've worked with these McGann VIPs from all over the world, you also got to see a huge variety of different companies.
Yes.
Because, in different parts of the world, there's different companies that are present. There's different companies that are more powerful. There's different companies that, there's different companies that the patients will accept. And so you've gotten this perspective where you could see and diagnose basically every company out there. in every environment imaginable and see what works and what doesn't work.
Yes.
What has been that like? How did you feel, what kind of issues have arisen that have frustrated you, and what things have worked well?
Well, every company has a certain set of attachments, or some call them engagers because they can't call it attachment. They have different plastics. They have different setups. They have different speeds that they try to straighten teeth. They're all different, okay? And they're becoming more and more different because everybody's scrambling these days to create something that's going to grab the market, okay? So I definitely am opinionated, as I know you are, Collins, about which companies support the user the best, okay, overall. They've got the best setups, the best plastic, the best rates of tooth movements, the best protocols, okay? And then you have others that are just trying to get you to order the first one and say okay. And I want you to believe you can just do anything. Just send it to our technician, no records, it's okay. And then we'll do the work for you, and you just put it in and collect your money. And one of the major companies wants everybody to believe that because they're selling plastic, okay? Now, orthodontists can't, they're a little higher level than that, and they aren't going to accept that first one. But a lot of the GPs get sort of sucked into, well, just to prove the first one, I guess it must be right.
The teeth look straight, it must be right.
It must be right. Then, of course, it doesn't work out, and they don't want to do it anymore. Now, my heart goes out to those people. We do accept setups on the first try. You call it a hole-in-one, and I think that's really good. And it just comes back perfect, okay? Is that rare? Well, rare in some companies like never, and other companies, yeah, it happens on a certain percentage of cases. And that particular company happens to be the one that you have chosen for like Progressive Aligners.
So the reason why, getting back to why we actually decided to do Progressive Aligners, so when you were working with all these different companies, you were expressing to me a lot of frustration of, this company's not working well here, this company's not working well here, they're not treating my mentor the right way, they're causing issues that we're having to overcome.
They've even shown disrespect. Anyway, go ahead.
And regardless, and so when you were kind of designing, what you would want for our clients and what you would want for your mentors, none of these companies are really solving that to really appealing to the general dentist the way you wanted them to.
That's right.
And so you pushed me of, hey, we need to gain more control so that we can offer my clients a better experience.
Yes.
And that's why
we're unique. We're GPs. And they treat us like we don't want the highest quality.
No. You should be happy with this.
You should be happy with this. No, we want the highest quality. We need the highest quality. We need you to do your best work. And they just, no, it's just a GP. He only orders, one a month or something. No, they're not a good client. And so, no, that is our client. That is who we have to do excellent. That's my whole reason to be teaching orthodontics from years ago. And I had to raise the level of GP ortho or they're going to stop me. And so that's what I did. And I took it on. I thought it was going to be that big. And of course, it consumed my whole life and I became obsessed. But, oh well. And I'm back to being obsessed again. So working like a madman, to make this come out like for you to be successful and and everybody to have the highest level of success.
But what you were recognizing was the GP client has specific needs.
Yeah.
And those needs are being forgotten and not being catered to properly. And so you asked me, hey, is there a company that we can work with that we can get more control to create a system to ensure that our clients get the best results every time and are being treated the way that we want them treated?
Yes.
So I had the advantage of, I had a number of different opportunities of different companies to work with. I kind of presented to both of you guys, okay, here's the different companies I have, and I can probably get the others. Which company do you want? And you guys were both very in unison of, I want company A.
Independent of each other.
Independent of each other.
But you see, the company A was limited in their worldwide scope. We're a worldwide organization, so company A was limited in a worldwide scope. You have been working with them for years now, and just so happens that they've now expanded into a more worldwide scope and enabled you to service all of our students, not just the ones in a specific area that they were in. So,
but the product that they were offering,
but the product was excellent.
it was your favorite.
Yeah.
Bar none, both of you independently of each other said, this is the company that has the best product.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can partner with them, that's who we want to partner
That's
with.
right.
And then if we can take what they offer and adapt it to the GP, to our client,
Yep.
that's what we're trying to accomplish. So that we can take over the support, we can take over the education, we can take over all these different pieces of this, and we can build a system around this product with some adaptation from them to suit our needs.
Right.
And that's how we create the best aligner product for the GP.
And it has to be consistent with the POS way of diagnosis.
Right.
And so don't forget that. See, we've all learned how to view cases, how to diagnose cases. What's important? Is it the class 2? Is it the whatever? We have our own way of looking at an orthodontic case and diagnosing it. And that has been proven over 40 years, okay, as being something that is going to make a GP successful in providing orthodontic care in their general practice. Now, as you just mentioned, you got to have education, not only on what cases you can do with this aligner or what requires brackets. I'll say it right now. If you're doing a bicuspid extraction case in general, please just do it with brackets. Now, if a patient comes in and says, I will not accept brackets, and they got a lot of crowding, most of that crowding is going to fill up the extraction space, okay, maybe some aligners, but count on following it up with some brackets to clean up the roots and whatever that didn't go right. But non-extraction cases, all day long, we have more control over expansion. We have more control over incisor torque. Is it different? Of course it's different. The teeth straighten differently with aligners than they do with brackets. And you were talking about, I call it the crowd principle, where you can't move until the people in front or to the side of you move. You call it a traffic jam. Okay? And so if you think that way, you understand in the education of it why these, in one case it's working or it's not working. You say, okay, next case, let's set it up a little different. And all of a sudden, everything starts running like a machine, okay? And so that's where we have the level of our new system. And it's amazing. And I hope all of the people adopt it. They're going to be happy. And but we are keeping everybody competitive in the marketplace.
And you're controlling not only the protocols, you're building a whole system, knowing that you have a consistent variable that you know how to control.
Right.
I know how to ask for what I want from their designers. I know what their designers are going to give me back. I know what tools we have available. I know how to manipulate those tools in my diagnosis to achieve a consistently, reliably excellent result.
It's just like in the brackets. If you stick with the IP brackets and bands and variable this and variable that, and you do it the way that it is designed, I guarantee you will be very successful. If you just go out and start buying whatever XYZ from different companies, different this and that, and try to do the same thing with it, I can't guarantee success. The same thing in the aligners. We have worked, we've found the best, we have learned to do that on a variety of cases, which we're going to educate you on. It has a lot of capabilities. And then, but if you go out and just start doing XYZ a company, then I don't know.
You better be more skilled.
Yeah.
With everything, with everything,
you just got to be, yeah.
With everything in orthodontics, whether it's brackets, aligners, whatever, the guy that is the most skilled, has every thought process, can bend the wire perfectly, do everything. The old, you can put, bubble gum in a toothpick and I can straighten those teeth.
Yeah.
But, consistency on every case.
On every case across the board of a variable, dentist population and a variable patient population. So that is the challenge.
And that requires a strict system that you have created that, to get that consistency on an every case, every doctor, every user, basis, that's how it has to be done.
Most of most of the ones that at least consult with me, they want that strictness. They want line by line, what do I do? Okay. And, don't just leave it up to, well, if it looks like this, maybe, or hopefully you'll be able to fix it. No. We don't. I have to assume. Actually, I write my treatment plans so that the dental assistant can do it. I don't leave anything for guesswork. It's got to be all there. Now they look at the 10 pages and I go, oh geez, I don't know if I want to do that. I don't want to read that. I don't have time to even read it. Okay, but that's how I do it. Okay.
So, in your opinion, why is Progressive Aligners the best for the general dentist?
Well, we're putting together not only the best plastic, the best technicians, the best setups, a lot of other features, which I think we're going to get to. So the actual physical product is excellent. Okay, I don't see an easier way, a better way of doing it than that. And then around that, circling around it, is the POS philosophy of education. We're going to show you how to use the product, what the capabilities are, and we're going to illustrate it by slides, PowerPoint slides that will show you, comparing this versus this, how I personally learned it, and says, okay, you see that, and you see that. Oh yeah, it worked without an attachment. Oh, gee, that's funny. We're not supposed to be able to do that. Okay, so I study all these little intricacies, and we happen in the software to have very nice tools to do that, and it's enabled me. It's enabled me to make a system that I know is going to work across the board, across the thing, and the POS support system of the experience around the inexperience, or the experience around experience, just helping each other out, is what we're all about. And you won't find that anywhere in the industry, because we offer the GP what they need. That's our business. It always has been, always will be. And and they're not really interested in that because we don't, on an individual basis, one dentist or another, we don't do enough volume to make a difference in their bottom line.
Don, I've been to your home where you work and do your consulting and mentoring and seen your genius happening. And what's been cool to me is to see that you're excited. You are genuinely excited to be doing this. You don't have to be doing this, but you are genuinely excited and enjoying it. What keeps you so excited about offering progressive aligners and doing this new system that we haven't had before?
When you see somebody, it's just like an ortho patient when they get done and you take the brackets off and they look in the mirror and they start crying. I used to start crying. I was so happy for them, right? Well, the same thing. People send me their that I mentored them on, and they send me the end result, and they're almost crying. Oh, I start crying. I'm crying right now just thinking about it. Okay, so that's what drives you. You do that, you want to do it again, you want to see it again. There's a patient on the other end, there's a trusting student on the other end. That's our family member in POS. And their success is my success. Bottom line. So that just fuels my obsession. I just want to do it again and again and again.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much.
Okay.